Why, hello everybody. I am Duncan Gaming speaking, everyone, and welcome back to another interesting video. Is that, well, since of course many others have talked about blamely, I'm just about to talk about is the reasons of why that Josh was ultimately kinda fired. Let's just say that Josh, I'm not talking about the other Josh. I'm talking about the one who ran Celebrity Manhunt. Yeah, so that kind of Josh. So let me just go ahead and talk about what happened with him exactly, the reasons how he was fired, but this time it's going to be my explanation. So, anyways, what I'm really going to probably just say here and make a few interesting guesses, just to make a few bit of guess and a bit of answers. Some answers are going to be good, and some answers are probably not. But this time it's just only going to be my way of the version of how he was fired, and yeah, he apparently may never return back ever again, so pretty much, he just may never return back at this point. But at this point, he actually does return into another universe, which I'm not going to say anything else about that. But at this point, I just want to feel like actually just making a conversation while we still continue on the way. Is that Josh apparently was fired. And he pretty much went on and just made his own show that Nobody Likes Josh. Well, actually, more people probably would have said that, man, what kind of name is that? That Nobody Likes Josh. I'm like, bro, he literally likes the same answer as he just likes whatever he likes of Chris's ideas. Which is just so funny that I find it a little bit hilarious as myself. Which I did say how funny I find that a little hilarious, but nah, that's just, come on. Like, we all know that he just likes it for most of it for any reason, but Josh and Blaney are kind of like, I don't know, like Chris's same ideas, but some others may or not like of Chris's ideas, but whatever. So here's what I'm gonna say and just make the point as I go exactly is that I think that Josh was kind of fired, that he just left the show and never returned back and never made an appearance again, that he somehow was kind of wiped off from history, or maybe just like been erased from history or something like that, and may just went somewhere to another universe and probably existed from another universe or something that I'm not going to refer to, which I'm just going to probably not going to because I just probably won't. So here's what I could probably just say is that he was fired, and he probably would or may have gotten some attention around his time while being the host, along with his co-host with Blaney, that so far both of them were out of jobs, which was just Josh and Blaney, that both of them were out of jobs anyway. But let me just say this, that Blaney might come back for one last time anyway, even though that she was on the third. But I guess more likely that Chris just couldn't have enough of Blaney just being in one last time of number 5, which just pretty much to mention on the community post, just to let you all know that yes, some others may return and some others will probably still likely to stay returned, which they're not going to probably leave anyway, but it's just going to be one last final redemption of number 5, which that's going to be a long, 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 long thing to make. So, pretty much. And then, of course, Chris and Chef are only focusing about season 4, not 5. They only mention about 5 in a later progress that isn't going to be fully ready to be on the scene. But season 4 is just on the red light, not green light. But anyway, what I really wanted to mention here is that, yeah, pretty much that we all might miss Josh after he left or something like that, which some others may criticize and some others may not criticize. But like I said, at least Josh did something, whatever he did, for being like some kind of host around the time or whatever. But I guess that's fine anyways. But whatever he left, whatever he left. But anyways, let that being said, I'm yours truly, I'm Duncan Gaming, and this is just my kind of version of how he left the show. Let's just say he kind of left anyways, like the same thing as the real series or the real season that was pretty much to be, which kind of were the same way as I would say anyway, so let's just make a guess that it probably would be confirmed anyway on both sides of the story. From my side of the story, and then the real season's story that I'm kind of confirming that it would just be a little bit more comparison like, if that would have been the case. So let's just go ahead on the real season that yes, Josh was fired and he left and he went to pretty much make his own kind of podcast that he just said himself that he made was called Nobody Likes Josh, which of course I know that's a dumb name to make, but come on, everybody has to really make a very crafty name one of these days. Makes a very interesting crafty names these days. And also, let's just say in my version of Duncan Gaming's version of the season of Total Drama Action Simulator, let's just say that whenever he was fired off the scene, or pretty much behind the scenes, he probably worked somewhere besides not being a reporter. He probably went out and do something with his time in his life. Maybe just go on with a different woman and just maybe date somebody else and blame me. But pretty true, the moral of the story is that I think he probably left and went for another different job. So I guess that's what I can say from two comparisons here, I guess. So anyways, I'm yours truly, Duncan Gaming. Thank you guys again for watching, and thank you guys very much for enjoying this video. Please be sure to remember to do these 4 things, is like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified. Thank you. Anyways, we'll see you guys absolutely next time. Absolutely towards to the next video, and always to the next video. So thank you for watching, and this is just my reason of 2 comparisons from the real season, or should I say from the real series, versus the Duncan Gaming season of the series, or whatever that's just going to be named. But I think I'll just come up with something a bit better some point next time. So anyway, just want to make 2 comparisons and just see what you guys thought of. However, that would be interesting of an idea. But I guess I have to say that Josh was probably erased from existence, or maybe been erased somewhere off, or maybe it was just kind of ended down the line and just ended up downhill for him just to leave. But whatever, I guess what I'll say is, well, goodbye to Josh, I guess. Goodbye for him. So anyway, see you guys for the next video. Duncan Gaming is signing off. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching, and see you guys for the next video. Peace out, and signing off.